Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. So this morning I'm reading in Proverbs chapter 6, and I read this. My son, if you put up security for your neighbor, or entered into an agreement with a stranger, you have been trapped by your words of your lips, ensnared by the words of your mouth. Do this then, my son, and free yourself, for you have put yourself in your neighbor's power. Go humble yourself and plead with your neighbor. Don't give sleep to your eyes or slumber to your eyelids. Escape like a gazelle from the hunter, like a bird from the fowler's trap. Solomon's telling his son that when you're in debt to someone else, you're like a slave. Another place it says you're a slave to the lender. And so I have a question for you. Is it wrong to take out a loan? Well, no, not necessarily. But it is like being trapped. And it does keep you confined and keep you doing things that limits your ability to be who God would have you to be. It can limit you in the way you might want to do something or need to do something. I want a new Harley. Always want a new Harley. Who doesn't, right? But I also know that if I take that loan out, then what it's going to do is make it harder for me to have the flexibility later. I love Grace, our 97 Electra Glide. Love it. I love wrenching on it. Getting harder to find parts for. Have noticed that. But I can do the work on it. There's work coming up to it that I'm not confident in, but if I learn how to do it, it'll make me even more confident with the bike, right? On the other side of it, I could trade Grace in and I could buy another motorcycle. My wife really wants to get into a tri-glide. And I get it. And there's days where I recognize that strength-wise, it probably would be a good idea to have a trike. I have a solution for that. Someday I'll share that with you as soon as I get that taken care of. Without having to go into debt. Amazing how God works that out, right? But there are times where you just can't possibly provide for your family without going into debt. Buying a house is one of those examples. But when you do that, there are ways to do it smart instead of being trapped. You know, I know so many people that are trapped in jobs and not out doing ministry the way God has called them to because they put themselves into a debt position that they shouldn't have done. God gave them the opportunity to pay off whatever debt they had and get themselves into a position where they could do what God was telling them if they would have just trusted God. But instead, they needed the next new thing, and they convinced themselves it was the right thing to do. I've been guilty of that. I'm still pulling myself out of some debt, but we're doing it. We're working the process. Maybe you don't understand how to do that. I would encourage you, look up Dave Ramsey in Financial Peace University. Find out where the next class is. Commit to it and go to it because it'll train you up in so many ways on how to deal with your debt. But remember this. Debt holds you captive. If you've made an agreement, Solomon says, work to get it taken care of so that you can be freed and move forward. It's a good lesson to learn. It's not a lesson I wanted to learn because it's easier just to live in debt. Not really, but that's what my mind said. I want you all to know the freedom as well. Let's move forward together in this process. God bless and have a great day.